This is your morning in 8 minutes. This morning, a major hurdle in avoiding a government shutdown has been cleared.
The House of Representatives narrowly passed a spending bill to keep funding flowing. Tuesday's vote was mostly along party lines. The measure would fund the government through September and supports President Donald Trump's agenda. That includes a significant downsize of the federal government. The bill now heads to the Senate, where it faces an uncertain future. Senate Democrats will face a tough choice: support the Republican-led bill or oppose it and force a government shutdown. 60 votes are needed to pass the legislation. And a major turnaround in U.S. and Ukrainian relations. Ukraine says it is open to a 30-day ceasefire in the war with Russia.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who led the U.S. delegation, says the U.S. will present the truce offer now to Moscow. After the talks, President Trump lifted the suspension of U.S. military aid to Ukraine and will resume sharing intelligence as well. The two sides also agreed to conclude a rare minerals deal as soon as possible to expand Ukraine's economy and guarantee the country's long-term security. As for the ceasefire, once again, Russia still has to agree to it. And this morning, a new study out from the University of Tennessee reveals evictions in Knoxville are sharply on the rise.
That study found 1 in every 23 renter households in Knox County got an eviction notice last year, many citing high rent as the main problem. Across multiple sites, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Knoxville ranges from $1,300 to around $1,700 a month. For those already unable to afford their rent, they may now face legal fees on top of losing their homes. East Tennessee's Eviction Prevention Office provides free legal support and helps people navigate through the process. Now that legal aid program could potentially lose funding. It was started using money from the American Rescue Plan during COVID. Well, that money has run out, and the city and county will have to find a new way to fund the program by the spring if they want to keep it. And the Department of Education says it's now investigating 60 colleges and universities over anti-Semitism claims.
That includes the University of Tennessee. UT and 59 other schools got letters warning them of possible consequences if they don't take adequate steps to protect Jewish students. The office points to Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. Under Title VI, institutions will not get federal funding if they discriminate based on race, color, or national origin. In a statement to WVLT News, UT says a student filed a Title VI complaint in 2023. They say several university offices worked to support the student, and the university fully cooperated with the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights in 2024. The statement reads in part, quote, "The university takes its responsibility to maintain an environment free of illegal discrimination very seriously." You can read that full statement and the letter sent to universities inside your WVLT News app. Meanwhile, protests broke out at the state capitol over a bill moving forward in the legislature.
The bill would allow schools in our state to refuse to enroll undocumented students. House Republicans hope the bill ultimately changes federal law. Back in the 80s, the U.S. Supreme Court said undocumented kids have an equal right to attend public school. Republican leadership in the House say that bars Tennessee schools from asking students if they're in the country illegally and legally. And as a result, the state has no idea how much it's spending educating undocumented students. The groups of people against this bill say it's a simple message they wanted to send, yelling things like "drop the bill" and "here to learn" as committee members walked out of the meeting. They say education is one of the most important things every child needs. If this bill is passed, it could be challenged all the way up to the Supreme Court.
And finally, the big day for two astronauts stuck up in space. Today, NASA launching its SpaceX Crew 10 from Florida. Once they make it to the International Space Station, they'll bring back astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams after being stuck in space since June. We talked to Wilmore's family last month, his daughter hoping her dad makes it back for her high school graduation. It could take a few days to get back. It's not a 3-hour tour. The mission will take off at 7:26 tonight. And it's been a question since the stadium started construction in downtown Knoxville. Where in the world will we park for Smokies games?
The city says it has a plan. Of the 1,500 available spaces near the stadium, about 400 in a lot are for staff and season ticket holders, and another 1,100 in 2 garages are available. It's not quite what they need for the 7,000 capacity ballpark. That's why people will have to rely on garages downtown. This is part of the city's plan. They say fans can park in downtown, either in street parking or a handful of garages. You can pay $5 to park in Summer Place or Langley Garage, and they'll have a free shuttle for you from there to the park. The city remains confident parking will not be an issue.
It is 6:55. Let's get a look at that first alert traffic on this Wednesday with Olivia.
Yeah, guys, keeping a close eye on the road right now. So I have been watching a single vehicle crash. It was pulled over. This is just east of Cherry Street on I-40. However, traffic was moving slow. It is starting to move along there. You're still seeing a little bit of congestion in those westbound lanes, but I do expect that to get cleared up here soon. You can see where it is starting to lighten up, so that's certainly some good news. If you take a look a little further out, though, that's really the only issue that I'm dealing with. It's just east of Cherry Street on I-40, those westbound lanes.
5 minutes to 7. If you are running out the door, I would say this morning, all right, give and take. Do you want the jacket or not? It does range from those low to mid 30s far north and east, choppy 40s to still some 50s where we're just starting to catch a little bit of wind. But winds really are kind of the next element of change for your day. It's calm winds to a very light breeze this morning. We share a clear sky. Knoxville on a drop closer to 43 for much of the valley. Again, some choppy 30s to 40s, but we all crank out 50s, 60s to 70s. Warming faster today as we turn up those winds a little bit more. 65 at noon, high today 78. Again, those gusts around 20 miles per hour. Notice midday to afternoon is when those gusts pick up a bit better. That will be knocking some of that pollen out of those trees. Heads up, stirring up the dust as well as we have a very dry surface. So still discouraging any burning for now. We've got the increased humidity very gradually the next couple of days. That's why rain chances are limited, but we will see more clouds. So that's the next element of change. Of course, the best chance for rain, not just coverage, but intensity. Saturday to Sunday, that's the front passage actually coming through. Also changing up how it feels into early next week. So I've got a lot to track for you coming up on the CW.
All right, Heather, thank you very much. That'll do it for us here on WVLT News. Headed over to WBXX, the CW Knoxville on this Wednesday. Have a good one.